How's it going, everybody? My name is Snazzy Patty, and today we are checking out a video by Madly Mesozoic. This is called Which Dinosaurs Could Be Domestic Animals? You know, pets, companions, work buddies, stuff like that. But anyways, I really just wanted to share one of my obsessions, my tisms, whatever you want to call it, my fascination with dinosaurs. So hopefully you guys enjoy. If you do, make sure to like and all that good shit. But anyways, as always, the link to the original video will be down in the description below. Go show your support. Let's lock in.
The domestication of animals was a crucial step in the success of humanity. Out of all the thousands of species
Dogs or wolves were the first ones we domesticated, correct? Or was it horses? I want to say it was wolves. Because that happened during the Ice Age, right? Because it wasn't there like a movie they released about that?
we share our planet with, only a handful of them have fit the description for true domestication.
Donkey. I'm gonna try not to yap too much, but if I do, I apologize. I love animals. I love dinosaurs. I love learning about it. I love talking about them. But anyways, let me know your favorite dinosaur and animal in the comments. But let's keep going.
The process of adapting wild organisms to live in close association with humans, often through selective breeding to provide benefits like food, labor, or companionship. In this video, we will take a look at the fossil
Ooh, what dinosaurs? Okay, last time I'm gonna do it for a second. Last time I'm pausing for a second. I'm in.
benefits like food, labor, or companionship. In this video,
What animals or dinosaurs do you think? What do you think? Like, which ones would we turn to be like food? You know, like how we do with cows and chickens. They'd have to be small ones, right? Defenseless ones.
we will take a look at the fossil record of the Mesozoic and select extinct species that may be good candidates for domestication based on 7 different roles they would serve in human society. We'll imagine that we're playing a sort of city manager game that takes place in a world or timeline where a bunch of different animals from all periods of the Mesozoic exist in the world, and we need to choose the best options to maximize our efficiency for a semi-primitive human commune. Of course, bear in mind this video is going to be heavy on speculation and is just for fun. That
Okay, I'm sorry, but that sounds like a sick idea. Somebody should make that game.
being said, let's get into it. Most agree that the domestication of cats was a pretty cut and dry process.
I have 5. I love my cats. They're somewhere. Of course, the one time none of them are in the room. You might see them in the background.
The increase of rodents, birds, and other pests on farmland was paralleled with an increased presence of
Or the
wild
kitty.
cats. Over time, cats became increasingly reliant on human settlements for food and shelter, and humans were more than happy to have them around to get rid of the animals eating their crops. I think a small dromaeosaur would be the best choice here, more specifically an arboreal species, such as Microraptor. Small,
That's like one of my favorite dinosaurs. They're so cool. They're so. First of all, they're freaking adorable. Okay, right? And then they have 4 wings. Yes, they can't fly. They only glide. But that's still cool.
agile and equipped with grasping claws and a lightweight frame, Microraptor could be trained to catch small vermin like rodents or insects. Its arboreal lifestyle and gliding ability would make it efficient at covering ground in agricultural settings, especially in orchards, stables, barns, and fields where climbing and aerial hunting skills are advantageous. Just as important as crops is livestock. They not only provide a crucial source of food, but also provide materials for making
It'd have to be something like a Dryosaurus, Ornithomimus. You know, one of those 2-legged like bird-like herbivores.
shelter, clothing, tools, glue, soap, the list goes on. A big part of the reason we have cows as livestock and not elephants is because large placental mammals are extremely limited in how many offspring they can produce per year. Dinosaurs, however, lay eggs and are not limited by this. Most large herbivorous dinosaurs could have laid well over 24 eggs multiple times per year, and many hadrosaurian species raised their young just like mammals did. If humans become involved in this process, those young have a far greater chance at survival, at least until they're ready to be made into burgers.
Yeah, but wouldn't they become like they're not defenseless. Once they're that big, that weight, you know what I mean? I'm assuming then we wouldn't let them get that big. But even then, when would it be? Cuz even I feel like a juvenile, they could tackle us, kick us, stomp us. You know, a nice little beak chomp would do a nice, it would hurt.
We want a dinosaur that'll be large enough to give us a lot of food, but not too large that we can't handle them. Sure, a
Mm-hmm.
sauropod might be able to feed a lot of people, but slaughtering them safely wouldn't be exactly practical. I think the premier choice here is a species of Hadrosauriform, and from this order of animals, I'm going to choose Ouranosaurus. Ouranosaurus has a leg up over its relatives in its tall dorsal spines. These bones could be used to make a variety of things such as tools, bone broth, fertilizer, animal feed, and even materials for musical instruments, jewelry, and other crafts. These dorsal spines also increase its surface area, and being as large as it is, the hide of the Ouranosaurus gives us a higher yield for things like leather, blankets, clothing, etc. A standard beef cow will yield roughly 47% of its weight in meat, around 570 pounds, or just shy of 260 kilograms. Ouranosaurus was estimated to be on average 2,200 kilograms, or nearly 5,000 pounds, though the dinosaur's streamlined build would have made it much leaner than beef cows. So we'll be conservative and estimate that after deboning and trimming a fatty, well-fed Ouranosaurus, it would yield no more than 30% of its body weight in meat, or roughly 1,700 pounds of meat.
That's a lot, but it seems like a waste considering it's only 30% of the animal. Maybe it's my bias. I like dinosaurs, man. I don't want to. That's fucked up, man. Why we gotta eat them? Like, don't get me wrong. It. I feel like I would want to try like a Spinosaurus or like no, a carnivore would be a bad one, right? I definitely want to try a dinosaur. I don't know.
While dinosaurs can't give us milk, they can give us eggs. Hadrosaur eggs range anywhere between the size of a softball and the size of a soccer ball. Red jungle fowl, the ancestors of domestic chickens, only laid 10 to 15 eggs per year. It was only when humans selectively bred the hens that laid more eggs that we got modern chickens who lay almost 300 eggs per year. It would be a much longer and difficult process with Ouranosaurus, but our dinosaur ranchers will replicate this process. While it may not be possible to get eggs every single day like with a coop full of chickens, breeding to increase the number and size of eggs would certainly be advantageous. The same size that makes Ouranosaurus a fantastic option for feeding the village makes it a difficult animal to manage. Being bigger means you need more food, so the Hadrosaur's size would require very large pastures. Now that we've determined our species of livestock, we want to find
Ankylosaurus. They're slow, but they're tanks. Triceratops. Maybe not actually. I feel like they'd be quite aggressive towards other herbivores. Ooh, what would be good? It's got to be something that would is strong but fast to keep up and like maneuver, but not like an aggressive herbivore. Like oh, like a solitary one. Oh, I don't even know. Hmm. Let's see.
find
Let's see.
another animal that can act as a livestock guardian. I think for our Ouranosaurus, we're going to need a slightly bigger animal. And for this, I've chosen another duck-billed dinosaur, the
Ooh.
Lambeosaurus.
Oh, I was about to say Sasantosaurus or something like this. It's in Jurassic World Evolution.
Though separated from Ouranosaurus by tens of millions of
The
years,
big.
Lambeosaurus would have lived a very similar lifestyle and potentially would have little issue integrating into their herd. With the largest specimens being 9 meters long and 4 to 5 tons, it would be more than capable of throwing down
Imagine it going on its hind legs and stomping you.
with some sizable theropods. But Lambeosaurus doesn't need to be a one-man army. More important than its size will be its hollow nasal crest, which it will use like a horn to alert the ranchers of danger and call
Hmm.
for their aid. Of course, this dinosaur's size makes it just as dangerous to the human ranchers as it does to the predators. But tactics and understanding of these animals' behavior will develop over hundreds or even thousands of years. Humans by themselves can accomplish some pretty impressive feats of strength when working together. But beasts of burden like mules, oxen, and camels have all saved the backs of many a man throughout history.
I feel like a ceratopsin, like a smaller one, or a smaller ankylosaurid would do well.
Here in our strange Mesozoic world, we've got plenty of big animals that could do the job. In fact, our Ouranosaurus and Lambeosaurus would probably do well enough as beasts of burden, but I've got
Mm.
one animal in mind that I think would do pretty well, and it's not a dinosaur at all. Lysavicia, a dicynodont from the late Triassic, was the largest terrestrial non-dinosaur of the Mesozoic. Potentially weighing up to 9 tons, this robust therapsid was equal
It always, it always messes with my what would it be called? Sense of or like like size judgment, I guess. You know what I mean? Like, oh, like it's just insane to me how big those things are. They don't look that big when you see artwork or like images of them. You know what I mean? Like that's crazy. Everything was just so much, bigger back then.
and mass to many elephants. The barrel-shaped body and robust pillar-like limbs are perfect for bearing some serious weight. Lysivicia could pull
Like that's a lizard capybara, pretty much. That is a reptilian capybara, bigger than humans.
plows, carts, or logs across long distances. It consumed tough, fibrous Triassic vegetation, with a digestive system adapted to low-quality foraging and grinding through tough plant matter like tree bark. Lysivicia would survive on plants that might not be useful for human consumption or other animals in the village. While we're not sure if Lysivicia was too smart, we do know that many dicynodonts, like Lystrosaurus and Dinodontosaurus, were likely gregarious, so it's possible that Lysivicia could work in pairs and dramatically increase the power behind a cart or plow. And their size does cause a few issues. The sheer size would make feeding and rearing these animals a lengthy process, but likely not much more so than elephants. Being this big would also make it troublesome to traverse difficult terrain. If they were being used to, say, transport a large amount of goods to other settlements, they would be relegated to established roads. Horses were absolutely instrumental in the advancement of human civilization. Thanks to their speed and ability to maintain a steady walk for much longer than us, the estimated arrival time for any trek or journey was chopped in half with a horse. While they can maintain a walking pace for days at a time, a horse can only gallop or run for a few miles before tiring. But in our case, the avian respiratory system of many dinosaurs will be a massive upgrade for transportation. While I thought about putting another hadrosaurian dinosaur here, I think that Gallimimus would be a perfect choice. Ostriches, our closest analog, can carry a maximum of 90 kilograms or 200 pounds.
Oh, okay, we're chilling then. I was just about to ask, how much can they handle weight wise?
And are sometimes ridden by people. However,
No way. What? Why have I never seen or heard of this? Ostrich racing? Yo, I gotta watch this. So I'm gonna have to find this online and watch this. This looks sick.
they can't carry a full-grown man for long due to their hollow bones, which could break easily running under that type of stress. Gallimimus weighed anywhere between 4 and 500 kilograms, stood 2 meters tall at the hips, and spanned 6 meters in length. Being a non-avian dinosaur, it also had hollow bones, but they were far more dense and wouldn't suffer from the same weakness as an ostrich. It's estimated they could have ran at speeds between 42 and 56 kilometers per hour,
I'm an American. Please convert.
making it around the same speed as most horses. But their air sac-based avian respiratory system would allow these dinosaurs to travel at these high speeds for far longer than a horse. No
Hunting. It's got to be a raptor because what else could we tame or domesticate? That's, you know what I mean? T Rexes are too big. Allosaurus is too big. You know, I could list a bunch of other carnivores, but you get the picture. They're too big. They're solo. They're too unpredictable. I feel like it would take thousands of years to do that.
animals in humanity's history have been such helpful hunting companions as dogs. Wolves' superior sense of smell helped us track down game over vast distances, and the superior lethality of our tools greatly increased the success for both species. In order to find a creature from the Mesozoic that can hold a torch, up to the utility of hunting dogs, we ought to get as close to them as possible. For many of you, dromaeosaurs like Deinonychus or Utah Raptor may be your first choice. No doubt, the Jurassic Park series imprinted this idea of
Yep.
pack hunting raptors into all of us at a young age.
Yeah, but they aren't like we don't know if they're like super socially smart with pack hunting. It's more likely, I think, that the theory is that they would just live in a similar area, and when they found each other hunting a larger prey, they worked together to take it down. And then afterwards, they kind of just went about their ways.
However, there is another group of theropods that may
Unless
be a far better
unless they were like maiden or like had children or something like that, maybe. I don't know.
option, and that is Tyrannosaurids. Now, I know you're already thinking this
A smaller one though, like Aloramus remotus, maybe. Um, it kind of looks like a Utyrannus. I don't know.
is, oh, yeah, Madly, sure, we're gonna put a collar on a T-Rex, and it's gonna help us hunt some deer. But hear me out. For many members of this group, we found pretty solid evidence for group behavior, more so than what we have for Deinonychus or Utahraptor. Particularly 3 species, Albertosaurus, Daspletosaurus, and Appalachosaurus. Tyrannosaurids, especially T-Rex, are well understood to have some of the best senses of smell among theropods of the Mesozoic, with large olfactory bulbs estimated to contain around 620 to 670 olfactory receptor genes. Not quite the 1,000 found in most dogs, but much closer than any other theropod. Of course, so far we've only found these traits in much larger species, all of which probably don't need any help from humans to hunt. But one smaller species in particular stands out as a candidate to me, Timorlengia, a smaller genus of
Ooh,
tyrannosaur from roughly 90 million years ago
I've never heard of this. This is new.
in Uzbekistan. Detailed CT scans of Timorlengia's brain case reveal that it possessed a pretty sophisticated brain structure, notably
Isn't it so crazy that we just like design a whole dinosaur, you know, what it looks like, the skeleton, the colors, da 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 da. I mean, the colors are obviously usually inferences or just guesses. But we make this whole dinosaur, as you can see right here. But we only have a few fragmented bones, a jaw, some skull pieces, some vertebrae in the spine, neck, and tail, and some finger and toe claws.
Timorlengia had an elongated cochlea, meaning it had the ability to hear low-frequency sounds, which would be another advantage for hunting prey. Social behavior for this smaller species is more speculative, but no more than with a lot of other dinosaurs. We know that T-Rex had a brain-to-body weight ratio that was well above average for dinosaurs, and a well-developed cerebrum that suggests they were certainly very intelligent. I don't know if I believe the smart as a baboon claim, but considering animals like chickens can be trained to perform certain tasks, and T-Rex was probably smarter than a chicken, we can likely say that Timorlengia would be capable of learning commands or what its human handlers would want from them, especially with food as a reward. However, even this smaller Tyrannosaurid is quite a bit larger than dogs. The best course of action for our early humans here is to raise Timorlengia from the egg, building a bond with them by training them as early and as often as possible. This will be pretty similar to raising a tiger in the beginning, and it will take a few generations before there's a Timorlengia whisperer, but tyrannosaurs receiving parental care from their parents and potentially working together in adulthood provides a foundation to shoehorn ourselves into whatever social grouping they may have. While there isn't an official estimate for its speed, Timorlengia was likely as fast, if not a little bit faster, than other theropods its size. Deinonychus and Dilophosaurus are both estimated to
Dilophosaurus is so underrated. It's so cool. I'll never forgive Jurassic Park for how they did it dirty. Like, yes, it's cool, but nobody, like, not nobody, but people who don't actually care for dinosaurs or like are super into them, like, you know, some others are like me. They have no idea what it actually looks like or anything about it.
run at speeds between 30 to 40 kilometers per hour. I think it's safe to say that Timorlengia may have pushed closer to a max speed of 35 to 45 kilometers per hour, pretty close to the top speed of most dogs. Dinosaurs the size of elk or deer could be pretty easily dispatched with a solid crunch to the neck, preserving most of its hide for the humans to use, while bigger game like hadrosaurs could be worn down over a distance until it's ready to be finished off by humans with spears or arrows. This is where the Timorlengia benefits from the domestication, as with the help of humans they'd be able to take down prey items far larger than they would be able to on their own. While any of the animals I've listed so far could be seen as companions to their owners or handlers, what we're talking about here is a pet you could keep in your home or backyard, and there's a near infinite number of potential candidates. Really, our only requirements are be small enough to handle without causing serious or fatal injuries, be easy and relatively inexpensive to keep, and be relatively docile. So really, you just gotta kind of find animals that might fit these parameters and pick your favorite. For those of you who have been watching the channel for a while now, you'll know that I'm partial to lizards. So for this category,
Same.
I've chosen a unique reptile that's not a dinosaur at all, and that is Draponosaurus, an arboreal reptile from the Triassic that was roughly the size of an iguana. It has really unique anatomy, like
I'm cool with
fused
this.
vertebrae at the end of a prehensile tail that forms a hook, perfect for holding on to branches while traversing to the next. They also have this really funny looking arrangement on their
It looks so weird but cool and cute at the same time.
forearms, like their ulna is a big disc and their radius is perpendicular to their humerus. And of course they have this massive claw,
Look at
which is
it.
theorized to have been used to chip away at tree bark to reveal insects underneath like an anteater. I've chosen this animal for no reason other than the fact I think it looks really cool and would be awesome to just sort of look at in a massive terrarium in my house. I don't know, I just find it very interesting. If you'd like to hear about some more options for prehistoric pets, You can check out my friend the Overseer's video on which dinosaurs would
Ooh,
make the best house.
I might have to check that out. But yeah, no, this was a good video. I enjoyed it. Yeah, I love dinosaurs, if that wasn't obvious. Show your love to this guy. You know, he did a fantastic job with this video. I definitely enjoyed it. Actually, I'm gonna go ahead and like it right now. I might even throw him a subscribe. But anyways, make sure to like, subscribe, put on your post notifications, comment down below, let me know what your favorite dinosaur is. What do you think? What would you like as a pet? Stuff like that. As always, stay safe, stay snazzy, and stay blessed.